cut. Good morning, everyone. Oh goodness! Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for coming for so early in the morning. It's 10:30. I know it's basically the sun isn't out yet. No, it is. These time zone things are killing me, guys. So yeah,
jet lag is a real thing.
Jet lag is a real thing, and it's been 5 days. So, welcome, and thank you for joining me and my fellow friends here for the Con Travel Stories panel, a very international edition. Because yeah, this is the first time I'm running this panel, and I don't think I've seen anyone else do it. I know yesterday there was one travel tips panel, and was anyone there?
He was there for like maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, but there was one yesterday. I'm not sure if the panel is gonna, if that panel is gonna end up here, but I think that one, if you were there, that was like U.S. specific. I tucked my head in.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be sharing with you. Well, I mean, we also want to hear from you about if you came up all the way here, your stories about traveling to pony conventions to the U.S. or North America, wherever it is that you come from across either ponds on the side of this continent.
Or even if you're American and have ever traveled to, say, Europe
Yes.
for a convention, how about that?
Yes, or even for the cause of the UK or the European Union, or maybe even Russia and Ukraine, because they do run comps there, by the way. So anyway, before I let my panelists introduce themselves, my name is Shenanigans. You should call me 90 or 90 time. I flew all the way from Indonesia to attend this convention. And this is my third convention that I didn't run myself. I went to 8 cons, 5 of them I ran.
Ouch.
So it's great to be here, and it's great to see you guys want to hear our experiences as we travel the world. Some of us has more mileage than others when it comes to overseas conventions. So without further ado, I think I will let my fellow panelists introduce themselves by the longest distance they flew into this convention. So that has to go with L-Train first here from Australia.
Right, yeah. So I'm L-Train from Adelaide, Australia. I think I'm the furthest, like the person who's travelled the furthest out of
Correct.
all the convention attendees. 'Cause I
Correct.
haven't
I'm
actually
pretty
met
sure
any
you're
other
already on
Australians.
Monday back where you live.
Sorry?
I'm pretty sure we're already on Monday back where you live.
I think it's actually Tuesday there now. 2024 already. Yeah, maybe.
Can we get the
Yeah,
lottery
it's 2:32
numbers?
a.m. there.
Can we get?
Is the lottery numbers?
Yeah, but that'd be wrong.
Back to the Future IRL edition.
Yes. What else should I say? I think I was counting. I think this is my third trip to the US. I'm trying to think about how many continents I've been. Yes. So I've enjoyed a few very long international flights in my time. I'm here as a musician, and you may have seen me at the concerts last night on Friday night. So if you did, thank you. If you didn't, hopefully you watched the live stream instead.
It's already posted.
They were all really killing it for the last 2 nights. So the musicians are amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm Phauxe, came all the way from Finland.
You came all the way from hell.
Yeah, from hell. I'm from hell.
Airport code.
Yeah, funny airport code, and funny story about that airport code. Back in the day, there used to be a flight 666 to hell. And if I am not mistaken, the last time they flew that was on Friday the 13th. But yeah, anyway, digressing. This is my 6th overseas con, and I'm not gonna count how many like international cons, because it's way easier to count how many cons I've been to in my home country, 2. Funnily enough, it was the first con I ever been to in terms of pony cons, and the last con before this one that I went to, that was one in Finland. So, but yeah, this is also my 3rd Ciderfest. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
nice. So you're a frequent here.
Yep.
Were you here when it was on the old venue?
Yeah, I
Nice.
was in 2018.
Nice.
That was my first time here.
Alright, hello, my name is Samudash, and at this point this is my 5th overseas trip to the US, and all of them have been for conventions, some of them for multiple. And fun fact, this is my first Ciderfest, but it is overall my 20th pony convention, so that's pretty interesting achievements regarding when you think about that. Most of the conventions I did were post-COVID. I had like a few before and just went completely crazy afterwards.
That's like all of them, right? Those 20?
Not all of them, but a good amount.
Good amount. Probably not like the ones in Russia,
Probably.
the one in Ukraine. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's been post-COVID cons in China also.
Yeah, there has been at least 3.
Okay,
Last
at
year
least
alone.
3.
I don't know, this year I've seen 2.
Yeah.
Even in Chengdu, which is kind of near Wuhan, and as well as near Beijing, there's another one. So yeah, they've been kicking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm from Lower Bavaria in Germany, and there's not only no cons around there. There's pretty much nothing around there. So I've been very used to traveling to see friends or do fun stuff.
Galicon in Germany?
Yes,
Yes.
but it's
Yeah.
still like
That's the other part.
7 hours from me,
Right.
like
Ouch.
Train or bus or car?
per train. So like 6 hours if DB has a good day and maybe not they're normal.
Hi, my name is Tired and Hungry, and I'm Flynn. I'm also from Germany. This is my 80th con, but I think only because I count some events as cons that he doesn't.
There is a definition. There needs to be panels and a venue, and every freehopper is not con. It's great, but it's not a con.
They have venues.
I mean, they have a venue, but they don't have panels. So.
Yeah, it's still a convention for me.
It's a convention because you get to see your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, from all over the place.
That's a
That counts for me.
That's a meetup.
This is my second overseas convention, but international a lot more because I'm from Europe. I can basically. Actually, I had one convention during COVID, which was the last day of Arts Con, and I decided on Saturday evening, screw it, tomorrow I'm going to Arts Con. And then I traveled like 5 hours by car to the next country, to the Netherlands, to attend one day of a con. It was like, yeah, best decision I did.
So now you're here stuck with all of us. Righto, and I don't know if you guys are in the audience, but I also know that there are some other foreign ponies here that are not Canadians. Sorry, Mitty. Anyway, I know there were people who flew in from also Mexico, some from the Czech Republic. Obviously, a lot of there you go. Welcome aboard. You also flew like I think a bit further away from someone from here, but maybe a little less than Brovox. I also heard there's Mexicans, the Czechs. Obviously, a lot of British people are here. I don't think I want to count them though, but yeah.
This is America. We hate the Brits.
And I don't know about Europe as well.
I'm pretty sure most of the world has had one part of beef with the Brits at least once in world history.
Well, to me, it kind of evens out because they gave us jelly babies.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That's a fair assessment. I'll go with that. But let's not get too political with the jelly beans, though.
And English breakfast.
Fair. Fair.
Sorry? No, I mean
No,
eggs,
that's not
bacon,
good.
sausages.
Yeah. Oh, where was my train?
It's getting worse than politics.
Oh my goodness, it's food politics.
That's a complicated story.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought there already. You can tell that I haven't been running past in a few years over COVID. I've only just been part of the Glimmer Gang, and that's Taylor. So yeah, these people have their own share of stories about even this time around flying into Ciderfest. How was your experience? Like, how many hours have we all flown? I'll start. Like, just flying. Okay, now let's define this. The international leg to the United States took me about 24 hours. That included 4 hours of transiting in Haneda Airport, Japan, Tokyo. And that's why when a lot of people come around and say, "Hey, I thought you were from Tokyo." I'm like, no, I'm just stopped by there. But I flew here in 24 hours, and the only person who can beat me here is probably the Australian. How many hours are you flying?
I think all up including layovers, it was about 25 or 26 hours. They did make me layover in Dallas for like 6 hours, which was not great, and a bit hours. I think so. I left Australia on Tuesday. I think my first flight took off at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I got into this hotel just before midnight. on the same Tuesday. It was like a 40-hour day. I would not recommend it.
Yeah. that happened to me. Like the moment I woke up on the same day I departed, I had to queue for like almost 2 hours to Chicago airport. At O'Hare, like I don't know if you guys went through O'Hare recently, the international side, but they are absolutely.
As a native Chicagoan,
Cursed.
I can confirm O'Hare is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
At all
It
costs.
is so far. I've been through JFK. I've been through SFO and Seattle, Tacoma. This is the worst. This is the worst. I'm sorry.
I can have again spoilers building up to my worst travel story ever. It does involve O'Hare.
Like I say, welcome to O'Hare, or as I like to call it, hell.
No, there's actually an airport called hell anyways.
Yeah.
So you can't take over Helsinki away.
So you're saying O'Hare is worse than hell?
Yeah, basically.
Depending on.
O'Hare, more like oh shit.
Okay, so this is not the airport roasting panel?
O'Hare has a dinosaur though.
Oh god.
What's so bad about it?
It's just so busy that you can't even time everything properly. It's a nightmare to deal with.
Look,
So it's just like London.
just like Heathrow, yeah, and Heathrow only has to deal with 2 runways. Imagine having to deal with like, I don't know, 6? 3 active at the same time, that's O'Hare.
Shit, I didn't know we were in Atlanta.
Like minimum, you have to get to your flight like
I think we're still in the
3-4
introduction
hours
phase,
in
so
advance.
yeah.
Otherwise, you have a serious chance of missing it because security is so long.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
to
we're
have
still talking about
5
flight
hours
time.
in Dublin.
Yeah, flight
Okay,
time.
I just have to introduce this. If we're talking about bad airports, I have to mention Frankfurt Hahn, which is a tiny airport but still an international one. It is nowhere near Frankfurt. It's like, I think by bus it's like 2 or 3 hours, even by car it's 1.5 hours from Frankfurt. They just call it late because they want to get the attention of Frankfurt. But it's nowhere near.
So
It has,
it's
the
like
entire
stuff.
airport has just one level. There are no stairs or escalators, but there are also like no gateways to the flights. You have to walk across the yeah, you have to walk across the tarmac.
So it's like London Stansted.
Or London City.
Can you catch a flight there from Frankfurt?
I don't think so. No. I think there's
Oh,
only
that'll be fun if you can.
Back to O'Hare for a second. The only perk I ever see about that airport is that they have a dinosaur in the main terminal.
I don't remember that, but it's been a few years since I've
It's
been
in
there.
Terminal 1. It's supposed to promote the field
Alright,
museum.
is that O'Hare?
Yeah,
Oh, you
O'Hare.
said he's
Oh,
still
yeah.
on O'Hare. Okay. I would not like to see that.
I've actually flown a few times from Frankfurt Hahn a few years ago. I think there's only Ryanair flying from there or to there, and yeah, everything is cheap. Well, except the price; those are expensive.
Cheap flights, cheap flights.
Cheap flights? Give me those.
But yeah, I just counted about approximately how long my flight time, including layovers, was, and that was about almost 20 hours for me. But I had a pretty sizable layover in Paris. But that was like.
How is Charles de Gaulle these days?
I mean, that was my first time there. It was fine enough.
Bad day striking?
You can't
They
walk
were
out
not
on the.
striking as far as I could tell.
Yes.
Was a bit of a took a bit of time to get from my flight over to the exact part of the terminal where my gate was. Like had to take a bus within the airport for that.
We had to take the subway. At the freaking Heathrow.
And you can't walk out on the wing and have a cigarette?
There's a man on the wing of the plane!
Oh, I got an image for that.
There's a man in the wing of the plane. Alright, fine. It's me. I'm the man in the wing.
It's 90.
You can do that, but only
Where's
once.
Shatner when you need him?
So my con-traveling was kind of split into 2 days, even though the two of us came from the same country. I'm very far away from Frankfurt, so I wouldn't have been able to make it on the day that we flown out because that was around 8 a.m. So I had around a 7-hour Deutsche Bahn trip to Frankfurt the day before, which went surprisingly well. That is
No way!
a scary fact, I guess. And I took the hotel at the Frankfurt airport that I already know well enough. So that was 7 to 8 hours there, and then including getting up, everything at the airport and flying over directly because I'm not dealing with the baggage on connecting flights if I don't have to. I think it comes around to like 19, 20 hours of travel time.
I think I had the samest travel here. I think from home to the hotel. I think from leaving home to arriving at the hotel was like 15 hours, I think, which includes 1 hour of driving, like about 2.5 hours at the airport, 10 hours of flying, a little bit at the airport in Chicago, and then a 1 hour ride here from Chicago.
How did that Uber go?
It was really nice. I was very happy to see Six Flags Great America again. I was surprised that he was driving the stick shift.
Whoa! No way!
Yeah.
Stick shift in America?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't mind it. I drive stick shift all the time, but in America, what?
Must be a better car.
Yeah. And one of the funny parts that actually happened when I flew in here is that I spent more time in my car in Jakarta from my office to the airport than I did spend on the immigration line in Chicago.
Oh yeah, no, if you're coming from international, yeah, that is
Yeah, like
there for at least.
I had to travel like what's 30 kilometers, some miles, 17, 18 miles in 2 hours. Yeah, that was like, yeah, you know what? I think it is Jakarta time for me to go off myself. Go away. Go away. No, I wish. But yeah, with that segue, I think everyone here just wants to like go straight to like their like funniest stories because they're already starting to bank on it. And I know at least Phauxe is already ready to just burst in with one of their worst experiences in trying to travel to a con before. So what do we have you first talking about?
Okay, just quickly, I think we spent less than 5 minutes on immigration.
It was only an hour flight.
Yeah.
Screw you guys!
Yeah, I mean, so this is my story of me traveling to TrotCon 2021.
Okay, let's go. Once upon a time,
That's always a good way to start.
Ohio.
Well, we start off
I was there.
with off in the land of Finland, where
Okay.
already off to a great start with the flight's takeoff being delayed by I think an hour at least.
Holy cow.
Like we had boarded, but it took quite a lot of time before we took off, and then we arrive at Chicago, and it's looking already like there's pretty much no way for me to catch my connecting flight. Technically, the connecting flight hadn't taken off yet, but I was assuming that yes, probably customs is gonna be way too long, and it was the longest lines I've ever been at for customs.
Which airport is this?
O'Hare.
O'Hare.
Getting over to Cleveland.
Are you familiar with Murphy's Law of Customs?
Yeah.
If you have a connecting flight, that's when you take the longest.
Yeah.
If you have a connecting flight in Chicago, make sure that it's at least 3 hours in advance.
Yeah.
3 hours is not enough.
Yeah.
Even then, you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been probably like around 2 or 3 hours of layover if it had been scheduled. But anyway, so I stand in line for a very long time, and then when I finally get to talk to a CBP agent, they pick me to randomly do a very, very thorough search of everything, and thorough, I would actually lean towards calling it an interrogation.
Oh God!
Like they went through both of my bags, like questioned me about all of the pony plushies and things.
No!
They called my contact person on my EFTA, which was Lockrock, and thankfully he had remembered my full legal name. that was the thing he told me later, that he was happy that he did remember, because, you know, obviously they're not gonna be like, do you know Prologue? They're gonna be, do you know blank my...
Shout out to Lockrock, he's been doing an awesome program.
Yeah. Shout out
you see
to
him to
Lockrock.
say thank you.
Rock is the best.
Yeah. So, by the... I don't remember exactly how long I was stuck there in customs, but by the time I got out, the info desks for my airline had already closed, so
Oh God.
I had to figure out what was my situation with like my replacement connecting flight, and that was also a hassle. So at first I found a customer service number for American Airlines.
Oh God, there's your second problem.
They said, if I remember correctly, at least 1 hour of a line to talk to someone on there, and that wasn't really happening. Thankfully, one of my friends did manage to point out to me that, hey, here's an specifically for Finnish customers customer service number for American Airlines, and well, they did get to me pretty quickly. Sadly, the first time I called them, they redirected me to Finnair's customer support.
Oh God.
That was my first leg of my flight was Finnair, and surprise, surprise, because of time zone differences, it was closed.
No way.
So then I had to call them up again, and then thankfully I finally got information that okay, I have a flight, I think 6 in the morning to Cleveland, and yeah, I think that ended up still being quite a bit of international calls in total, so that cost my mom quite a bit on the phone bill.
Oh God, I hate it.
And
So
yeah,
unfinished.
also to make things extra great, I did not find any really good spot to sleep because all benches that would have been good for sleeping were already taken. So
Oh my God, yeah.
I had to kind of half sleep sitting to get at least a little bit of rest, and then I could thankfully sleep a bit on Luck's couch before we headed down to Columbus.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Love Rock again.
Yeah, shout out to Luck Rock.
Yeah, Love Rock.
Rock's couch.
Yeah,
Shout out to Love Rock's couch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my worst con travel experience, and that's why I avoid layers in America like the plague now.
Just a little mini story, but on the topic of Chicago. It's not about the airport, but I also have a Chicago curse. Because,
Chicago curse.
yeah, after Winnie City this year, a friend of mine and I were driving towards the east because we wanted to go to Cedar Point the next day. And somewhere around like close to midnight, we were driving through Chicago on the interstate, and there suddenly was a noise. And that was the first time I ever had a flat tire in my life.
Oh.
So
In a foreign country, Canada, well done.
we were sitting there like right next to an exit ramp on the interstate, just waiting for roadside assistance for like 45 minutes, which was that's still okay. To get the replacement tire on, but at that point we didn't know like, okay, are we able to get a tire at like after midnight somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Chicago? My friend surely thought it wasn't the case, but I just pulled up on Google Maps, being like, okay, 24-hour tire shop, and there were like 2 options, and one seemed like semi-legit, the other one, nah.
God bless America.
So we drove to that. It was
Tire
like
anyway.
10 minutes from where we were, and we didn't even see it at first. Like it was a huge like doorway with just some people standing around and chatting, and we weren't even sure, is that like the tire shop or is that just like wrongfully labeled or anything like that? So we carefully approached and parked there and asked like, hey, is this the tire shop? Oh yeah, tire shop. And like this huge doorway opens and we see like this entire hall of tires, like that's how a culture shock, to be honest. It was tire heaven right in front of us. It was amazing.
At that point, did you think that you've already went through heaven or something?
Yeah.
You think you have transcended?
I was like, oh my God, Chicago, what have you done here?
That's the thing about America. You never, any hours of the day, there's always someone open 24 hours.
Yeah.
Every shoddy.
So yeah, we got the tire. We got to Cedar Point like 2 or 3 hours later than we originally anticipated, but it was definitely a fun time and my first time actually in Chicago, not just driving mine.
I'm not gonna work. I get an email. Yeah, your train has been cancelled. Please call us for travel options. So I call up Amtrak and they're like, Yeah, there's no travel options. Like, well, this is a useless phone call. Yeah. Yes.
Hello, you're fucked.
Okay, the kids program is done, right? Sorry.
So yeah, so eventually, I think I ended up getting a flight to Houston. It was like a day or 2 days after I was meant to leave there, so I ended up staying in the Airbnb I was at for 2 days. I did get the interesting experience of being in New Orleans as a hurricane is bearing down on it. It was fine. It didn't actually hit the city, but I did get to see a day where like there was everyone was like there was no one in the city. Like I was like in the main kind of square there, and there was like no tourists, which never happens. So yeah, that's my probably my weirdest story. Yes.
We have another story, Samuel and me. We went to last year's Everything Northwest. After that, we had planned a road trip basically across around the entire West Coast, from Seattle down to LA.
Oh yeah, what happened when you did that? Yeah, what happened?
We already rented a car. We picked it up at the airport, drove to the convention. During the convention, we had a small chat of all the Europeans that were at Everything Northwest, including but not limited to Imalu, who you may know as the character designer who worked on the G5 movie. She designed the Izzy and Sunny. And on Monday morning, we were basically ready to leave the hotel.
After some extensive 3-hour goodbyes to everyone.
Yeah, that was the moment I was crying all the time without thinking I'd meet them again. But that's my part, later go.
And then Imalu wrote in the chat, yeah, does somebody go to the airport? I'm willing to share an Uber or something, because they had no way to go there. And I was like, I have a rental car, we have lots of time, we can drive you there. Our car was designed for 2 people and our bags, so we couldn't fit all the 4 bags into the trunk.
But we only realized when we were already down in the parking garage.
Yeah.
So I basically started sprinting up back to the lobby with our luggage to give it to the reception while we were gone, and we decided we would come back later. I was never that fast with 2 pieces of luggage in my hands.
Yeah, so we left our luggage at the hotel, put Imalu and her partner in the car, drove them to the airport, drove back to the hotel to pick up our luggage, and then we started our road trip. And then like a few days later, we were down near San Jose, and I randomly found a tweet by Imalu, who didn't fly home. They actually made another trip. They flew to San Francisco and spent a few days with Dusty Cat.
Oh, wow. And you guys went up again?
I checked her tweet, or basically Dusty Cat's tweet, and I said, wait, they're about 20 minutes from where we are right now. So I messaged them and was like, you want to meet up? And they were like, sure. So we met up like a week after Everything Northwest again down with in San Jose, and spent the evening with Imalu, her partner, and Dusty Cat.
Nice. Well, that's when happy coincidences happen. But we actually went down only one question. We were almost out of time, by the way. So you guys, we all have stories to tell, and we don't need. And I think we need more than one panel to do this.
Yeah.
Does everyone have to come back?
Tell the story about the time I almost got arrested while running.
And we got more stuff as well.
Is it the panel about stories?
It is a ton of those stories, but it's not done yet.
It has to come back and it has to go to other conventions as well.
Yeah, someone has to take it up. Yeah. But yeah, like we've heard stories about when we eventually make it somewhere, but there are also unfortunately stories that I want to share from people who did not make it, not because of their own terms, but because of how the world works. So everyone here, all of these Europeans, if you believe in Eurovision, Australia is also in Europe. All of these guys are allowed to have this little facility from the United States called the Electronic Travel Authority. And that is something that you can sign up online with just your passport details and some weird questionnaire, and they'll say, okay, fine, you can just fly in with us, that's okay, that'll be $20 done.
Yeah, questions like, are you a terrorist?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
That's on the last page though.
Yeah.
Please answer honestly.
Please answer honestly, yeah. So these guys are eligible for that, which makes it absolutely frictionless for them to travel basically everywhere in the world. But for people like me from Indonesia, from the Philippines, from people even from Russia, from Mexico, it's not that easy. We have to apply something that's called a visa, even for traveling to everywhere. It's not like I want to stay here for a long time, I don't want to study here, I don't want to work here. It's basically just, It's a visa to visit people, to visit the country, which takes a lot of time, and I'm lucky enough to get it because of some circumstances that is financially dependent. But just want to call out that there are several people that are probably a lot more famous in this fandom than I am, and if I show you this slide, you would probably recognize 2 out of 4. I'm 100% sure you can recognize 2 out of 4. And if you recognize 4 out of 4, congratulations, you're a member of the Brony Old Guard. So yeah, you all know who they are.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No.
And each one of them was once denied visas. Sugar never wanted to go to a convention, but we all know her relationship with Bizarre. And she was denied a Shannon visa once to just see Biz, and had to go through the process of reapplying, testifying. It's a good thing that the Schengen area countries are a lot easier when it comes to attesting your visa rejection. But she got to do it, and she's really self-made, and she really earns above the median income of any Indonesian, if I can tell by the amount of popularity that she has in this fandom. And she has to go through this as well, even though she makes probably more money than I do. And next one, I don't know if you know Buckweiser, but he is the, let me just flash this image up real quick. He made this. I got this signed by Kenneth Sharon yesterday, shared this with a few people. He made this, and he's been in this fandom for the longest, but he was denied the US visa twice for BronyCon 16 and 18. Despite help and affidavits of support from active members of the US military. He got the money, he got everything, but it seems like the employment history, age, and country of origin seem to have hampered him down. Next one, I think you've also heard about Tridashi. I'm pretty sure most of you call it Tridashi, but that's how you pronounce it, Tri. Same thing, been denied for a US visa at BronyCon. He is also self-made. He probably makes more money out of YouTube than I ever can dream of, and maybe from any of the content creators can dream of. But he's self-made. Both Sugar and Tria are self-made people, and things have happened, and that was not believable enough for the U.S. Embassy for him to go. And even when he wanted to go to EU, I think for one of the either Quantum Hollands or Galathons, the same thing happened to him that happened to Sugar. He basically forgot to send 1 extra month from his financial statements, and that bounced it off from the visa application. And the way he had to attest to, he had to list out everyone he's working with in Europe that he was going to plan to meet, including his itinerary and everything, and attest for his visa. And he got it, and he finally went to Ponyville 22, was it? 22.
22,
Yeah. And if you know this last person, like, you are absolutely a member of the old guard of the pony fandom. So same thing, BronyCon 2019. This guy has traveled to Australia a few times, but that did not go through too. So it's really tough for some of us out in the other side of the Great Wall, the Great Western Wall, to really just go and be ourselves. And it's sometimes underappreciated just how easy it is for them, but how hard it is for us. So if you see someone that comes out of that doesn't come from North America or Western Europe or Japan or Singapore in your national convention, or Australia and New Zealand, they went a long way to already said Europe. Yeah, what? Oh yeah, I already said Europe. Yeah, New Zealand is also part of Europe now. Okay, whatever. But these people have gone a long way, and these people would do anything to be here with us in all these conventions. So it's incredibly hard to come to the United States just to have fun. And I'm really thankful that I can get to do this, and that's why I wanted to share these stories and hear from you guys. I am lucky enough to have it, but that's not something that everyone else can say. So, as they say it in Quora, yes, someone who works at US CBP posted on Quora, your right to enter, you have no rights to enter the United States. That's what they say. You have to prove that you can leave. You have to prove that you are doing it right. But really, we just want to go to pony convention. We just want to see our friends, and these people, at least two or three legends here. All of them really are legends. Can't make it. So next time you see someone next time you see a YouTuber, content creator, artist, whoever from my part of the world, that is not Singapore. Singaporeans can go anywhere. this is the kind of tribulation that I go through. These are the people who can't make it, and they would absolutely love it if they can make it. And there's nothing that, unfortunately, we can do about it. So, does anyone else have stories about visa rejections like this?
I'll jump in with not visa rejections, but I've heard stories of quite a few musicians not being able to make it to cons because they have merch in their bag. And if customs see that, it kind of convinces them you're on a business trip, which you may not, which you're not really meant to do on an Esther,
Correct.
I think.
Yeah. Correct.
So yeah, there's been quite a few people turned away at, it's usually the Canadian border that's an issue actually.
Yeah, Canada also has a problem that like you're technically not supposed to be allowed to perform either, at least not for money.
Yeah.
If you come over to the US, like I know for BronyCon 2019, Strack Attack was denied entry, and they had to like scramble to get some replacement acts with Lavender Harmony and Faulty and Pegasus.
I remember that. Anyway, so that's why I don't bring merch to cons. Well, partly why. There's other reasons, but yeah. So I can just tell the customs agent, yeah, I'm just here visiting some friends. Yeah, it's not a business trip.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically all that I can say to customs. If you go way too far with the pony convention, then they're gonna start questioning them that far. There's a reason behind that. Anyone?
Could you just ship the merch?
Customs.
If you ship it though.
Yeah, I have heard of people doing that. Yeah, just send it to someone in country beforehand.
It is possible.
There's other reasons. Yeah, that's one way around it. There's other reasons.
Either that, or you print it with someone, right?
Yeah.
It's on the goodwill of the other person.
Oh, I'm sorry, I came in a little late. I was wondering if you could go down the line, your name and your country, maybe?
Okay, so that's Eltrey. Eltrey's from Australia, Provox is from Finland, Samu and Flynn are from Germany, and I'm 90, I'm from Indonesia. Yeah, so...
My husband caught the first half, and I'm like,
That's
oh.
okay, that's okay, that's okay. These are not the guys. If these guys are here, I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic. These guys were denied a visa even. So yeah, and does anyone have like any other stories where you didn't make it to a convention, or someone that you think would have appreciated if they went to a convention too?
Could you share your favorite country convention? I guess.
Favorite country?
We're trying to open our mind of new places to go.
You all really should check out Western Europe. Go to Western Europe.
Yeah, go Western Europe. I can definitely go, recommend Galacon and Everfriancor, both great events.
Yeah.
And Czechoslovakia.
And Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia runs every like 2 years, right? Shout out Jameis. Jameis. That was not in the script.
But yeah, the whole Western European convention scene is like a huge family, so I
I still need to dip my toes into going to more European cons than the German ones. For some reason, I have not done so yet.
Also from Holland.
Yeah,
but they're not in English though, right?
They are.
Oh.
So here's the thing. You all maybe you Americans might be more you might hear more from the Japanese cons. You might hear more about Japan Ponycon and all of that. The truth is, it's easier for you to speak in English in all the European cons instead of flying to Japan.
Yeah, like all the European cons have English as their primary language.
Yeah, as their primary language.
Except for French,
Because
fuck French.
I mean, actually, one of the exceptions was the one small one-day con that we had in Finland in September. That one was primarily in Finnish, but it was also just like a
meetup.
Yeah, it was a bigger meetup. It was like 200 attendees.
Okay.
But the smaller gets more likely that it's in the late language.
That was the Crystal PonyCon?
No, that was Crystal Fair back in 2014. Crystal Fair back in 2014 was it full in English. This was Ponycon, held in a toy museum that had like a exhibition about My Little Pony.
What country? Because you're saying Crystal Fair, I'm like, you mean in St. Louis? What do you mean?
Yeah, there's funnily enough 2 different Crystal Fairs.
Yeah.
There's Crystal Fair Helsinki and Crystal Fair St. Louis. And funnily enough, I think the one in Helsinki was announced first, while St. Louis managed to hold their first convention first. Because Crystal Fair in Finland was announced already back in 2012 and held their first and only year in 2014. And then St. Louis was held in 2013 and announced, I think, later in 2012.
I think St. Louis has finally died down.
Yeah, it's died down.
St. Louis here, can't confirm it's dead.
We went once, it was fun.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of Krystal Fair, like at PonyCon it was really nice reconnecting with because one of the guests of honor, or I guess community guests or whatever we had at that con was one of the con heads at Krystal Fair, and it was really nice hearing stories about like behind the scenes stuff of that, because also not just because it was interesting hearing like how is it for a con to have to deal with like not the financial side not really adding up and all that.
As for the European cons, you have to remember that Europe basically has, or at least within the EU, there are no borders.
Yes.
There are no controls, there are no border checks, anything. Even by plane, I can go to another country within the EU without any check or anything. You walk out of the plane, you grab your bag, you exit the airport.
It's like a domestic flight. That's a Schengen area. That's a Schengen agreement where almost all the EU member states, plus Switzerland and Iceland for some reason,
and
Norway
now. But no longer the UK, right?
And not the UK. The UK is entirely
the UK is not in Europe anymore.
It's not in Europe. Yeah. The UK is in Australia. Wait.
So how did we get so blessed to get you guys to come here? I mean, to travel to Ciderfest, I'm so happy you came here.
Yeah, I mean, for Europeans it's a bit easier, like we don't need to get a full-on visa. We have the ESTA visa waiver program, so it's cheaper and easier. Like, technically there is a risk that you could get denied for it, but even then you could apply for a visa and maybe get accepted.
Maybe kind of.
Like I can at least think of like one pretty notable case of someone from Europe getting denied entry to a Pony convention, and that would be General Mumble.
Oh yeah.
Back in HarmonyCon, that was 2020.
Yeah.
But that was also like since he had been staying in the US for more stuff than what an ESTA would allow. He had had a visa, and they then felt that he was overstaying the rights that his visa allowed him, and he was turned away.
I think now he has
now he has
he got
full
married.
visa,
a full permanent residency / work visa here.
Yeah. So at least it has a happy ending of that story. But
Yeah.
Like when I saw that he got his I think it was his sponsor visa, whatever it was approved. I was just really happy to see it happen, because you do not want to go through a US visa interview.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I can imagine that's probably not a
They
great.
won't do anything to deny you.
Yeah.
You are denied by default.
Well, that's their goal.
Exactly. $160, thank you, for USAIS. You're not gonna get your money back.
How's it opposite for US going overseas?
Yeah.
For the US going overseas, if you check the amount of countries that you are eligible for visa waiver, basically all the countries that's relevant in the world, easy for you. You can go there. You can go to Indonesian visa on arrival at worst. The only places you need a visa is probably Russia, China, and India. But you want to go there? I mean, China's good. China's good, but
I mean, it'd be cool, but not any place.
Yeah.
As for the European conventions, because there are basically no borders, usually always have international audience. So basically, all European conventions, except for the French ones.
Screw the French.
That's why we don't even hear about the French ones.
How do you win the French over at this point?
We're just destroying Canadians and French here. Sorry,
So basically, all the conventions, except the French ones, are always held in English. There may be some panels in the local language, like Galacon has maybe 1 or 2 German panels. Chipresta may have a Czech one.
I'm sure it'd be done.
Okay, I didn't know, I wasn't sure, but there may be one. I know in PonyCon they usually have a Dutch fun panel, which is held in English, but they make they basically introduce Dutch traditions or food to the guest of honor. But that's it. Everything else is in English. At Galacon, it's basically a running gag already that you have 2 people talking to each other in English for 20 minutes until a 3rd member comes by and says, you guys can talk German to each other. Because people don't know each other, so they default to English, and then after 20 minutes, you're both are Germans. You
Speak
can speak
German.
German.
That's actually how I met my best friend. We're both Czech.
Yeah. That I think that's one of the beauties of like European cons. I mean, I know here in this con convention there's at least one other Indonesian, but not like a proper Indonesian. Like if you know Waffle Wishes, one of the vendors, he's Indonesian Canadian. So every time I go there, I just go, "Oi, Assalamualaikum," which is like our way of saying like hello and whatnot back home in a very casual way, and everyone will be like, "What?" But if you go to Galacon, you'll probably hear about 8 languages all at once, and that's the fun part. That's the fun part. You should experience that because you can all go to Europe easily.
I mean, funnily enough, I have a friend who's also from Finland who, so far, I have only met at Galacon.
How big is Galacon?
What?
How big is it? Like how many?
About as big as this.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Europe's biggest con so far. It's only being trailed by Ponyville Holland, Epona, and Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the biggest con in Europe and basically also in the middle of Europe.
It's basically the BronyCon of Europe.
Yeah.
Is there a Sequestria internationally, or are you talking about the one in Maryland?
Which one?
What?
You guys keep talking about
no,
Sequestria. I'm like,
Sequestria.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
So there's like there might be 3 conflicting conventions for the same name. One is Czechoslovakia, which is in the Czech Republic in the Prague.
Okay.
There's one Sequestria Fest, which is somewhere in the East Coast, Atlantic City somewhere.
Yep.
He's staff member, he can tell you.
City, Maryland.
Yeah. Maryland, actually, okay?
Yep.
And there's also Sea PonyCon, which I run. That is in Southeast Asia. Nowhere near Seattle, despite the first 3 letters being SEA in all capitals.
Real quick, can you confirm, is Ponycon dead?
I cannot comment. I can't comment, but I can tell this one's dead. This PonyCon's dead. This is the Indonesia's first. But after COVID, it's really, really hard in Southeast Asia to start it up again. So we'll work with the furries first and see how it goes. Don't quote me on that. Don't put it on video.
Can you maybe tell the story?
Huh?
Who has a big plushie con?
Plushie con?
Who's the biggest plushie con?
Usually, it wasn't this year, but they're planning on bringing it back.
I don't know how we would get a plushie.
Singlehoff and the Danes?
Which story about
the one with Dutch and Danish? What? You know it better than me, but if you don't remember, Singlehoff is a friend of ours from the Netherlands. We also have a few friends from Denmark. I think it was at the last year's Ponycon Holland, where the Danes were making some plans to get dinner or something, and they were talking in Danish amongst each other. And Singlehoff was just standing next to them. He doesn't speak Danish, he just speaks Dutch, but he understood them. Because basically Danish and Dutch and German are somewhat similar. Yeah. And they were just talking Danish at some point. He was like, "Yeah, I agree. I'll come with you if you agree."
Yeah.
Well, if you have your local friend group, they will talk their local language. But at the convention in general, with English you're fine.
Yeah, as someone who's been studying German on Duolingo, I can also say that there's quite a few words that are very similar in German as they are in Swedish, which is my main language. Despite being from Finland, my native language is Swedish. I'm part of a 6% minority in Finland.
Aren't Swedish and Finnish also very close?
Finnish is actually not very close. Finnish is one of the languages in Europe that's not part of the Indo-European language family. It's in the same language family as Hungarian and Estonian, and then a bunch of small languages that are spoken in parts of Finland and Western Russia. But yeah, Finnish is a whole different beast. Because I just lived in Finland and studied it a long time, I can speak it decently, but it was hard learning it. It just has a whole lot of conjugations and stuff. In that way, it's a bit similar to German in that the grammar is hell, but still very different.
Kind of like an airport. And we're actually running over time, but I'm not going to get out of here until Lockrock gets it out. So the next panel is at 12:30 in this room, and it's also the writers panel. So Vivid's going to kick me out.
Welcome to Germany, where the opposite of to drive around someone is to drive someone over. I'm not kidding.
No way! That just sounds wrong. I think there was a hand, not in front of Huntsville. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about Hungary, you know how you can get by with English pretty much all over Europe. This one time we were going to Hungary for a rally, Gumball, if anyone knows, and we drove like 8 hours by bus. We got off the bus station and we were going to the hotel, and we were hungry. Obviously, after 8 hours.
You're hungry in Hungary.
Yes. And
I love that. Finally, I'm hearing someone say it. Yes.
And we noticed, we looked like, hey, there's a McDonald's here. They will probably know English because McDonald's is an international brand. So we get there. There's a Hungarian lady in front of us talking in Hungary. That's a weird language. It makes no sense to my brain. Okay, so she orders and goes away, and I step up. The lady greets me in Hungarian, and I'm like, hello. And then her eyes go wide, and as terror sets on her face, she turns around and runs away, shouting something in Hungarian. I don't know, I think I scared her for life, because I started speaking in English. And a moment later, some guy comes by, barely able to speak English, but at least enough so that I can tell him that, yes, I want that thing on the menu. Thank you very much.
The finger pointing!
Yes.
Point for that burger!
Yes, so don't speak English in Hungarian.
Yeah, Hungarian is like still far enough from Finnish that I don't understand, like it's more related in terms of how the grammar works. Estonian is, for me, just funny Finnish. In a similar way to how Dutch is a mix of funny German and funny English. And to me also Norwegian is a bit of funny Swedish. Norwegian, Swedish and Danish are almost just the same language, like with slight differences.
Then again, Norwegian is kind of a nicer Danish.
Yeah.
I've said it a few times this year. Dutch is like a drunk mix of German and English. Danish.
And Indonesian. Oh wait, no, because they colonized us.
Danish sounds like a language made up by kids to speak in secret.
It actually makes sense when you start studying it. I've been at it for like 3 months now. It's getting there.
Yeah, on Icelandic.
Icelandic is also like related to Norwegian, Swedish and Danish, but it's been separated for a long time, so it's quite different at the same time. A weird thing that I've heard, I can't since I'm not an expert on linguistics, I can't comment completely on that, but I've heard that apparently the dialect of Swedish that's spoken in Finland would be the closest language within the Nordic languages to Icelandic in some ways. For some reason.
We have really developed a linguistics panel right now.
Yeah. For Phauxe and Krystal to return to their hometown in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for Ponyville Ciderfest, an adventure in storytelling this fall, November 17th through the 19th. I hope to see you all there, and remember, you have the ability to be awesome. Stay tuned, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys!